And I look at the guy, go, I'm not leaving till you write broken timing belt, broke while driving. So I'm an attorney in Michigan. I've been practicing law for 30 years now. And I also taught law school for 10 years. But my specialty is lemon law. Generally, I often say consumer law, but I like car cases. And the lemon law is the law, all 50 states have got one, that covers and protects people who buy brand new cars. Now, the law is pretty cool because it allows for certain remedies that were better than what there was before the lemon law existed. But it's also got some very, very technical nuances that you need to understand. And of course, I'm going to tell you right now, if you've got a question about any of this, you can usually find a lawyer in your state who handles lemon law claims and simply ask them these questions. It's the most common question I get at my office. People call me and say, Steve, does my car qualify? And I talk to people all day long just to see if they do or not. But the first thing to remember is that most states, they cover new cars. So you buy a used car, most likely lemon law does not cover you. It's possible with a very, very late model, low mileage used car, but it's such an exception, don't even think about it. So a brand new car, you bought a brand new car. If the car's got a defect that cannot be repaired within a reasonable amount of time, the manufacturer has either got to buy it back from you or trade you into one that's not defective. The question is, at what point does it become a lemon? So most states measure that one of two ways. The vehicle's in the shop 4 times or 3 times or some fixed number of times for the same problem and it's not fixed, it becomes a lemon. Or if it spends 30 days in the shop or 25 days in the shop, whatever your state might be, at that point, it's a lemon. Also, if it's still defective after they've had it all that time. Most states do say that before you actually hit the drop dead limit, you can send a last chance letter. So in Michigan, although it's 4 repair attempts that it's not repaired after, you can send a last chance repair after the 3rd attempt has failed. Instead of 30 days, at 25 days, you can send in a last chance letter saying, hey, my car's not fixed. I'm going to give you 5 more days to fix it. So once you send the last chance letter and they don't fix it, then it becomes a lemon. Now, there's a couple of things to remember. And the first of all is that what we're talking about is a substantial defect. I've had people call me up, they spent $50,000 in a car and something squeaks. They say it drives me crazy. Well, most lemon laws say the problem's got to be substantial. And the use of the word substantial is both good and bad because it's a neat word, but it's not definable. What's substantial? So many states say it's got to substantially affect the use or value of the vehicle. So the interesting thing is some states don't even mention safety. Your vehicle could theoretically be unsafe, although I guess an unsafe vehicle probably affects its use or value, right? So think of it this way. If your car has got a problem that either makes it so you can't drive it, or it somehow is very, very inconvenient to drive, or if you were to go to sell that car, would somebody who test drives it goes, oh, what's that weird thing? I want a discount for that. If they're going to be able to, with a straight face, say they want a discount for that, chances are it affects the value in an arm's length transaction. So your engine blows up. Yeah, that's a problem. Your transmission fails. That's a problem. Car won't start. That's a problem. Car has wind noise at 80 miles an hour. Probably not a problem. So what's a substantial defect is going to hinge on what type of car it is. But the thing to remember nowadays is a lot of modern cars have gotten so complicated that a dealership doesn't always know how to fix them the first time. I hear stories now about people say, I've got this infotainment center in my car, screens and touch screens and controls, and I get in my car and it's supposed to come on and it comes on and it whacks out or it shuts off or doesn't work. I take it to the dealership, they go, oh, that's weird, and they play around a little bit and they get, no, it's fixed. Person gets in the car 3 days later, dies again, right? It might not be something that the dealership can fix easily because nowadays cars have got computers and control modules and all kinds of electronic stuff, and even things like transmissions, which used to be fairly straightforward. Now you've got things like, CVT transmissions, dual clutch transmissions, 9-speed transmissions for whatever reason. And some of these things actually are very, very complex. There are even problems that they've identified with some vehicles that simply cannot be fixed. The Ford dual clutch transmission. There have been major articles in major newspapers about how they put this transmission on the road knowing it had problems, but they were hoping they could kind of resolve the problems later. And the cars still run. They get from point A to point B, but they shift harshly, or they judder when they're in gear. They have internal memos where these guys are actually saying, like, we shouldn't put this on the road yet. And someone else is going, we can't stop delivery of these cars. Well, we'll fix it later. And so if you got one of those cars or any other car that's got a recurring problem that cannot be fixed, you've got to start thinking about the lemon law. So I advise anybody who buys a brand new car, it's a big investment. The average person, biggest investment you're ever going to make is going to be your house. Second biggest investment, most likely, is going to be a car. So if it's that big of an investment, spend wisely, shop well, and take care of it after the fact by doing the following things. Save all your paperwork from your purchase. Every document you signed, you should save that. Most people do. If you bring your car in for service to a dealership for anything under warranty repairs, save the repair orders. But it's also important that when you bring it in, make sure they write it up as you describe it to them. I've had people tell me that they bought a car. They brought it to the dealership and said, the car died while driving down the road. And they'll write down something like, check engine. A lot of lemon laws actually say that your car has to suffer from a defect or condition. And a lawyer will tell you that the use of two words indicates that it's broader than defect or condition. It's something else. And so a defect might be a faulty transmission. A condition is it shifts funny. And your job as a consumer is not to diagnose or fix the car. It's your job to tell them what's wrong with it. So when you bring your car in and you say, my car is doing this, make sure they write it down. I've had people tell me, I tried and they fought with me. I've actually brought my own car into a dealership. I had a car that broke timing belts. And I had occasions where I was driving down the road and the timing belt broke. And so the tachometer goes to 0, car's still rolling. I know what it is. I put it in neutral, pull over the side of the road, call the dealership, it's under warranty. They tow it to the dealership and the guy wrote down, he goes, no crank, no start. I go, dude, that thing will crank all day long. It won't start, but it'll crank all day long. Guy goes, no, that's code. They know what this means. I go, could you please put down broken timing belt? It broke while driving. And the guy goes, no crank, no start. And I look at the guy, I go, I'm not leaving till you write broken timing belt, broke while driving. Now that vehicle had an observation hole. You could look in and see where the timing belt was supposed to be. It wasn't there. Okay, so it was a broken timing belt. I come back in a few days later, the guy goes, yeah, you're all done. Let me guess, broken timing belt? He goes, yeah, broken timing belt. So you have to tell them and make sure they write it down. Then save the repair order. And if the transaction goes smoothly and correctly, you'll get a piece of paper when you drop the car off. When you pick it up, they'll give you another piece of paper. The second one will show what was done to the car, who did the work, how long they had it, and so on. The first one simply shows what you complained of when you dropped it off and the date you dropped it off. These documents are extremely important because when someone calls my office and says, I have a lemon law claim, I don't have to go look at their car. I don't have to go talk to the dealership. I go, send me your documents. I can put them on my desk and go, okay, repair 1, repair 2, repair 3, repair 4. I look at the dates, it's a lemon law claim. If it's not, I look at how many days it was in the shop. Brought in this date, picked up this day. Brought in this date, picked up this day. I add up the days. It's math. And so the documents are what drive these cases, what prove these cases, and make them very, very easy. And I mean, I know guys who do, personal injury law. They have to get medical documents, medical records, x-rays. It costs a fortune. And it's all this paperwork that I dig through and look at and have people review. I look at the stuff, go, let's see here. No start, no start, no start, no start. Look at the days, add it up, and it's a lemon. And that's how we do it. So the important thing is, if a car qualifies as a lemon, you're entitled to the new car or the buyback. And this is the important part, your attorney fees and court costs will get paid by the manufacturer if you win. So if you're calling around, you think you've got a lemon law claim, you find an attorney, ask them, have you handled lemon law claims? How many? How long have you been doing this? If they say they've handled them, great. And then you say, are you going to charge me to take my case? Because most attorneys who do this will go, no, I'm going to get paid by Ford, GM, Chrysler, BMW, whoever it is. They'll pay me. I know those attorneys on a first name basis because I'm suing them all the time. We're friends. It's like, Sam and Ralph, checking into work, the sheepdog. That's the point, is that you get your attorney fees paid. In the old days, before the lemon law existed, you might be able to sue the manufacturer on a breach of warranty claim, for instance. But if you didn't get your attorney fees paid, it might not be worth it. And so the idea that someone buys a $30,000, $50,000, $80,000 car, whatever it is, even though that person could probably afford an attorney, it wouldn't be fair to make them hire one. So a good attorney who handles these cases are going to look at it and say, look, let me see your documents, how well documented it is. Is it documented well? And if so, I'll take the case. And if we don't win, I just don't get paid. But if we do win, I do get paid. And that's how it works. So most of the manufacturers are so used to the idea of the lemon law now that they understand it's the cost of doing business. If you build 100,000 of anything, some bad ones will get through. And so if they build a lot of cars and a couple bad ones get through, they know they got to buy them back. And they're going to buy them back. And they're going to pay my attorney fees along the way. So it works out for everybody. But the key is to understand it only applies to brand new vehicles. And there are some exceptions. It's probably not going to apply to motorcycles in most states. It's not going to apply to RVs in most states. It's not going to apply to boats in most states. And it's also not going to apply to commercial vehicles. And so I've had people who bought big rigs, commercial vans, trucks they use for their businesses. And so most people don't think about this until later, but if you go to buy a car, you're filling out the purchase agreement, there's often a section that will say, is this car being used for personal use or commercial use? And they'll often be on the loan documents too. And so if the commercial use is checked, you might do that for tax purposes, but understand that you're going to lose your lemon law coverage quite likely in many states. So there's a lot of stuff in those documents that you got to go through and read, but the purchase agreement, the loan agreement, and those kind of things, hang on to those. They're extremely important.
Premier Financial Services has been a sponsor of the VINwiki YouTube channel for the last 4 years, and we love them for that, but we also love their Simple Lease. It's one of the most powerful tools in the world of exotic car financing. It allows you to minimize your payment, minimize your down payment, have the flexibility to move in and out of cars, and take all of the advantages that are available to a leasing structure. So check them out at the link in the description below. We appreciate their continued support of VINwiki, and since you heard about them last here on the channel, they were actually acquired by First Financial Bank USA. And what does that mean for you? It means they're now larger than any of the other exotic car banks you may have heard of. They can move faster, buy more deals, and give you even better customer service. So thank them for their continued support of VINwiki and use them as your tool to buy your dream car soon.